Today is day 3 of the July 93 7-day retreat at Springwater. A few things stick out in the mind to talk about. One is in this work, is there effort? You seem to indicate at times that awareness is effortless, and yet being attentive in the tremendous current of habitual thinking, reflecting, fantasizing seems an enormous effort to be attentive. Maybe we'll stick with this and not even think of the other questions that have come up. Just because we've said things in the past, let's not accept them as truths and now begin to defending them, that this work is effortless. I have to stick to it, I have to be consistent. So every time a question comes up in a meeting, group or individual or to oneself alone, can the assumptions that are made become clear? And one wonders whether they are appropriate. And with that, start from scratch. Start looking, inquiring, questioning, listening freshly, anew. And the best place always to start is now, here, right now. So in sitting here this morning, with a cool, dry breeze blowing through the windows and screen door, a very gentle calling of birds, the breathing, deep or shallow, fly buzzing. The heart is beating, isn't it? One may not feel it. Some people say I have a hard time feeling my heart beat. Then there's no need to think I ought to feel it. Something is felt. The seat under the bottom. The hands touching on the thighs. If the eyes are open, there's this orange floor with dark holes in it, filled, little tiny pegged holes filled in lighter color. The buzzing of an insect, gentle chirping of birds, breathing, breeze. Some spoken words which are heard, which may trigger associations in the mind, imagery of a bee buzzing, imagery of birds sitting in trees, memory being evoked by words and sounds, someone moving, sound of cloth touching cushions. In talking, listening, or sensing all of that, is an effort made? Is there effort? Or is it there? The thoughts, the sensations, the feelings and emotions, is it there? Or is there an effort to pay attention to it? Breathing, twittering of birds, feeling in the hands, the legs, the back. And if there is an effort, where is the effort? What is it? What is the quality of the effort? Is it that at times during this talking the mind becomes inattentive? It hasn't listened to what is being said or to the sensations, but is caught up in thinking about something else, about what one will do at home, or this afternoon, whatever may come up in the mind and captivate. And then one just catches the word attention being spoken here. Then is there an effort made to pay attention? Meaning not going with the momentum of the fantasy that has just happened and from which one has just awoken. What seems like an effort not to go with the momentum, the power of habitual thought, but just to listen quietly to what presents itself. Like if one is standing in a gushing stream, maybe slightly downhill, because all streams are eventually downhill, to just stay standing in there. It takes some energy, doesn't it, not to flow with the stream. And this is what one of the questions was. What's the difference between energy and attention? Energy and effort. Because obviously there's energy in not flowing with the stream, but listening to the sound of the stream, to the pushes and pulls that the stream exerts on this body. The temptation to go with pleasant thoughts about my future or myself, feeling good right now and perpetuating, continuing that thought, wanting that feeling to last, has tremendous power to keep going with it. And the energy to listen to that rather than to flow with it, to keep thinking about it and keep eliciting sensations of pleasure. That energy is as great or maybe a bit greater than the one to flow. Because it seems to get complicated that there are two energies. Maybe there are. We'll have to examine it. Maybe the energy of the momentum to go with the flow of pleasure or pain, because pain has tremendous pressure also to be thought about, worried about, anticipated. Maybe at the moment of waking up from that powerful flow of thoughts and emotions and just attending to the plane in the sky, the words spoken, the heart beating, the birds twittering, maybe this attention gathers the energy of the flow. Because right now the mind is not flowing, it's here, listening, being, attending, feeling, experiencing. The senses open together to what's there. So maybe at the moment of waking up from a powerful, habitual flow of thought and becoming aware of what is going on here, actually, right in this body, right underfoot, right in front of us, right around us. The habitual flowing thought energy or imagery energy yields or is absorbed in the attention energy. Because if there's a waking up, a coming to in the midst of fantasy and being with what's here, even though it may seem to be an effort, may not be the effort of wanting to get someplace, but just the effort of, for an instant, not going with the flow, but being here. And if that really happens, then there seems to be a deepening of the energy of being here and listening. Because the habitual flow energy towards something or about something, past, present, future, is no longer there. It's now gathering here. And hearing the traffic. The dog barking. The breath. The knees, back, whatever may be aching or hurting. Or maybe just a feeling of well-being. Sweating or cooling, whatever. It's there. And the energy is there to perceive it. And not to make something out of it. Because that's where the new flow starts. I like being attentive. It's wonderful. It's freeing. I want to keep it. I want to perpetuate this. And with this new flow starts as a trickle and it becomes a big stream or waterfall, we're no longer here. We're again in our thoughts about ourselves, what we would be like if we were attentive all the time. Maybe somebody else is always attentive. Can I be like him or her? And many rivulets all merging into this stream of dreaming about myself, wanting to get someplace, imagining a goal or an end state of perfect, everlasting attention. And me in that state. This thought can generate tremendous energy because I am so hopeful I'll get there. But there's no birds now. Or are there? The breeze is there. The breathing is there. Physical sensations are there. Heart is always beating. The knees are on the mat, or in the air, the feet on the ground, or on the mat. Where are they? Has one felt them recently? The hands, the back, the head, the nose, belly. Is it tight? Is it relaxed? The knots, the various knots that one carries around. In the chest, solar plexus, here, right below the chest and the belly and the stomach area, intestines. Are they there? Are they cramped. One doesn't want to feel them, wants to be rid of them. Even without thinking about it, the body has habitually hemmed them in, tightnesses, not wanting them. So can at this moment tightnesses be felt and sort of relax into them? Ease into whatever feels tight. By easing into it, I mean not resisting it, not objecting to it, not wanting to be free of it. Because what's there right now is there, but it can change with increasing caring attention to what's happening inside the body and outside of the body. So the way I use and interpret the word effort, and I'm always open to use the word in a different way. If you've used it differently, then let's get together and maybe we can use it in a different way too, because words are arbitrary agreements. Only we have to agree in communicating that we're using a word in the same way, with the same meanings. So the way right now I'm interpreting and using the word effort is that there is a sense of me as an entity, a free-willing an entity desiring or wanting to achieve a goal. And working up energy in whatever ways to reach that goal. By imagining myself with a goal, by reading about people who have reached goals, inspiring myself with stories of people who have made it. Something comes to mind in this connection. I hope I won't forget what I was saying. I once led a Zen group, sort of an affiliate Zen group in our basement in North Tonawanda. People from the surrounding area would come. And we'd also have all-day sittings, and I would ask people, what would you like to hear for a little talk? I give little talklets. And majority of people said, read us or tell us about Zen masters or people who made it, who got enlightened, their story. Because that inspiration of putting oneself in the place of somebody who worked so hard, had such a hard time, was treated so harshly too, and then finally, through all the effort, got there. This gives a tremendous amount of inspirational energy to keep working at this thing, trying to break through the koan. So here, there is me, little old, weak, unenlightened me, and the prospect of getting enlightened with my problems solved, some fundamental change occurring. First, visualizing the monk, the Zen master, the nun. There were a few of those too, very few. And this thought of others and possibly myself getting there, arousing inspirational energies. And then making the effort with the aid of those energies to sit all night, to eat very little, to have no breaks, not to sleep. different people may work differently. I'm not generalizing for all spiritual training institutions or centers. But this is what I call effort. Me, my goal, and the work or effort, energy aroused by whatever means to get there. There's a separation of me and goal. There's a separation in time because it takes time, as it has taken for those I've just heard or read the stories about. And energy, as it is used here, is just that really not explainable force or power gathering to illumine or attend to what's here now. Including what is this feeling of me-ness, of I? What is it? Not I have the goal of getting rid of this I so I can be free of it, but what is it? Because it feels very palpably there. It feels good at times. One person yesterday very honestly and freely said, I like me. I like me. I like the feeling of me sitting here and hearing these birds. Person didn't say, but may say, don't bother me with what's this me. I feel all right. And I like to grow or develop professionally, artistically. There's nothing wrong with it. We're just some human beings, more when we're younger than when we're older, or maybe again when we're older, begin to question things. What's it all about? This feeling of meanness, which so often, for a moment, it may feel wonderful and energizing. I'm feeling good, I'm getting better, I have a wonderful future professionally. There's a lot of good and inspiring and thoughts and feelings involved. But at other times, the meanness feels as a barrier, a wall of separation. Not feeling related to other people in a free and loving, kindly way. Being afraid of people. It is so common. So common. Fear of people. Fear of being with people. What are we interested in looking at it? What they may do to me, that they may hurt me, ignore me, put me down, be better than me. So my envy may be aroused. I don't want to get into this, so I stay away from people. Sometimes not knowing what it is. Last retreat we had, it was a 10-day retreat. One person said, I've never felt better in all my life, just walking up the hill and through the woods and swimming in the pond and being with these incredible flowering grasses and the scent of flowers everywhere. But coming back down, just the roof of this building immediately spelled people. And something cringing. It's all right to laugh. We all know it somewhere. Openly or hiddenly. The fear of not measuring up, of being put down, being hurt, ignored, or allied against people who seem to be on the in-group and me on the out-group. Well, not just out-group, on the out. So this me causes all our pleasures and all our pains. Pain of loneliness and isolation. With a yearning. The yearning to be related and the fear of relationship. Which is incredible conflict. Toward and away from at the same time. So, in sitting quietly, can such feelings of fear, anxiety, discomfort, loneliness be gently, kindly approached? What is it all about? I say gently, kindly, because if we do it too forcefully, the problem will withdraw or capsule itself thicker. Like with a child, if one tries to probe too quickly, too intensely into what's wrong? Why are you crying? Tell me. It won't happen. Most of the time, it needs, first of all, a gentle, loving, caring embrace, or being with the sobbing child, the unhappy child. Rubbing his back or her head. Just being there. And then maybe the story will unfold of what's aching, what's hurting, what happened, what's going on. So is that what is possible for us, sitting or walking quietly, to really just be with what's there, open, superficial, and darkly hidden? Not readily available to consciousness, and yet sort of murkily stirring. One begins to listen to whatever is going on. So often people say, I'm confused, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. Well, I don't know either. But one can listen to this, whatever is going on. Confusion means I ought to know. I ought to understand it. It ought to be clear. But it isn't. So that's what's going on. Do you see what I mean? To start precisely, simply with what's there. And watching carefully the desire that something else be there. Clarity instead of murkiness or confusion. That gets the mind going into comparison. And if one comes out at the low end of the comparison, that thought causes depressive energies in the body. So what's happening this instant? Does that take effort? We talked about the energy of not going with the momentous flow of fantasy which we've just woken up from, but energy staying here to be with what's there, the cawing, the breathing, the air, and then maybe some discomfort within, murky, dark, not readily nameable or explainable or knowable, but there. the pressures, the tensions. And just letting it be. Letting it be in a spacious field of awareness. Spacious meaning not zeroing in with effort to solve a particular problem, the goal in mind to solve it, but letting be what's there, letting it reveal itself on its own, unfold, open up, or stay closed. The energy remaining with what's here for however long it lasts before the mind is off habitually into another channel of anticipating, remembering, or fantasizing, which is not bad. It's what's going on for human beings for hundreds of thousands of years. It's not new with us. And at times it has its place to have creative imagination. When we decided not to haul our retreat equipment as we had done for 3 years to a rented camp. Mats, cushions, everything. Decided to save the cost of that. We had to imagine how much would it cost, how much would we save, make estimates. Takes a lot of anticipation, imagination. Then what kind of a spot would we like? What kind of a building? It took a tremendous amount of creative imagination of many people. There's place for it. Without imagining something, nothing will happen. This building would not have happened. So not to start judging or thinking, it just brings conflict, because obviously it's needed to just to imagine to come to a retreat, to get the things ready. What will the weather be? 100 degrees? We were also talking in a meeting yesterday about different spiritual paths. One person relating what her husband is into, being somewhat worried about it. Someone else relating about having been on a Christian spiritual path. And then the question came up, or a statement was made first. Maybe all spiritual paths have the same goal or the same aim. We were also wondering whether one becomes identified with one's own path and then the inevitable feelings of superiority over others. We don't have as good a path. And then this statement, all spiritual paths may have the same aim or result. That was the word, I think, if I remember right. And then questioning, what is the essence of a spiritual path? I haven't made study of all spiritual paths. I would even leave the word path out, but what's the essence of spiritual work? What's spiritual? Is there an essence to what we call spiritual work? Spiritual meaning what? What does it mean? Not working for a living? Not working in a business? They would get into trouble right away. Because practically everybody who's here is working for a living. All of us. In one way or another. Professional people. Business people. Teachers. Is one's daily life removed from what is done here? So that there is a chasm between my daily work and spiritual work? I think if I talk and feel this way, I must not have looked very carefully at either. We didn't discuss that. It is coming up right now. What do we mean with spiritual path, spiritual work? What is that differentiating element or essence that we're trying to express with this word spiritual? My spiritual needs weren't taken care of, people will say. I did this, I did a lot of therapy and this and that, but I felt my spiritual needs were not taken care of. What do we mean by that? A need for imagining something again, a God, a state of enlightenment or nirvana, and trying to get there, trying to be emancipated or delivered from all my burdens, my worldly burdens of relationship, of isolation, problems, of difficulty with people. I don't mean that by spiritual work. Of course, I don't use the word spiritual. When that was one of the library index words they were going to put, and I think actually did put into the Work of This Moment book, I didn't like it, to look under spiritual work, but people look under those categories to find something. May find this book, may find this place, and then we're questioning what is spirituality. Is the essence of spirituality or daily life, working, family, relationships, is it to find the truth of this moment, what's really true and real and actually so? That could be binding everything together. It could be the unifying factor. To at least for moments glimpse the truth of this moment. Feel the ground under the feet. Be in touch with what's actually happening right now, including the fact that thoughts are running, but not so captivated by the thoughts that one doesn't feel the ground under the feet. Doesn't see the sky over the head. Or doesn't see other people the way they are right now, feeling just as isolated as I do. Or as agitated, as lonely, fearful, or angry with themselves and others, stereotyping, projecting, discriminating, prejudicial. Can that be looked at, seen when it happens in ourselves and in each other, brought to light as the truth of this moment? There was a prejudicial thought. It can be seen coming up, prejudice against somebody with a different accent, different skin color, or just not of my intimate group. We love to see other people as outsiders. That gives us a little bit more coherence, cohesion, and strength as insiders, because we're all so weak and find strength in devious ways. Now, someone may take me up on this. Being in a group may not be devious, but if it is used to mark the outsider as not belonging, and therefore a feeling of superiority or safety to be on the inside, not outside like that poor other guy, then it's devious. Because fundamentally we human beings are all related to each other, interrelated, interconnected, made of the same stuff, materially, atomically, energetically. Mechanisms are all the same. Some of us are ailing. Others may be ailing tomorrow, aching, sick. It's all universal stuff. So, where do we begin? Begin here again. We can get carried away and saying, well, this unity of human beings, that's also an idea to me, is a concept. I don't feel it. Then don't accept it as a concept. But look at the feeling of dividedness, separation, rather than inspire oneself with the idea of unity. And we don't look at how separate we feel, how lonely, how miserable, how aching and paining, and how afraid to approach people for fear of being rejected. So what's the essence of our moment-to-moment living? I won't call it spiritual or professional or job, or we won't call it by any particular word. What's the essence of our moment-to-moment living? Where am I? Somebody this morning said, everything has crumbled since I've been here. Everything I've seen, I've been totally immersed in ideas and concepts all my living life. It has crumbled, but now I feel lost. Why do we feel lost? We're sitting on a mat, aren't we? There are 2 feet that will get up in a few minutes walking. And if one needs to go to the bathroom, one will find it. And the little bell rings in a little while, we'll find the kitchen, we'll find our mouth. Find a place to sit. Under a shady tree or in the cool dining room or wherever. Today the shades aren't lowered so we can look out. It's interesting to look at this feeling, I'm lost. What does it mean? Lost in relationship to what? In relationship to all the ideas that were my land, my living land? All the props on the stage, they're all gone, blasted away. Of course, I'm lost in idea land. Because I don't have ideas, although one may not be aware how many ideas one has left. Besides, they keep coming up like mushrooms. Next time it rains real hard, we'll have mushrooms all over these forests. They just come up seemingly out of nowhere. So it is with ideas. A little bit of rain, and there they are. What I am. I'm somebody who has nothing. Maybe this is such an incredibly healthy start. Start with like a little child. Because little children don't feel lost. They wander off and they're having a wonderful time in the store or in the garden, in the street. And parent runs after them and says, "Oh, you're going to get lost." Child isn't lost. It's exploring. It's finding out. It's using its little feet. Hasn't done that for a long time. Always lying in the bed, in the crib. And now the feet can go. Exciting things to touch, to sit down on, to lie in, to step into puddles. So where are we right now if we're not in ideas? We will end here for today.